There was literally part in it where he's writing, and I was taking notes in notes, yeah, and I just put next to it, "Let him cook," because that man went off. Loved it. Welcome back to episode 191 of To Become Family. We're your hosts, Renzo and Monica Ortega, and today we are going to talk about Pope Leo's latest encyclical through the lens of being married and family people. People who are married couples, and then those of you that have families. We think it's a good way to introduce you to the encyclical and some of the things that are in it, because it's more than just AI. Hopefully this conversation is enough to get you at least intrigued enough to want to read the entire document, because I highly recommend it.
Yeah, so we're pausing from our series that we were doing because this is new and important, and Renzo spent a lot of time today reading it, so just in time to record for tomorrow's release, which is great.
Oh my goodness, yes. Procrastination has always been a specialty of mine. Granted, this one, the text wasn't available. It was sold out until now, because we're not that important.
We didn't get the pre-order. So, but I'm really excited to talk about it because I think that there's a lot that we can, well, it's not even apply to family life, but he pretty much articulates this is relevant to family life, what he talks about, and I'm excited. I'm excited to share about it because this is something that we have strong feelings about anyway, and now Pope Leo and us are in agreement / he makes it sound way better and does a great job.
So I have to sign in to our Substack because that's where all the notes are. So if you want to read the accompanying article that goes along with this episode, go and check out our Substack because we're going to start putting all the articles there. So we're not just, like, if you're on Substack with us, we're not just using Substack as a way to promote our videos and our podcast. We're also trying to put something substantial.
Yep.
Something substantial. Write something substantial about the thing that we're talking about on Substack, so that there's just two ways to go about the same topic, and that they complement each other.
Yeah.
The way that
our
podcast
is going to stay mostly like banter and commentary back and forth. Your opinion, my opinion, our thoughts on things, and it's more unfiltered, and we are kind of processing as we go. Whereas our written content is a little bit more formalized, and just however you like to consume your media, or maybe you like both.
Yeah. So what do I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think of my shirt? I'm just kidding. I know what she thinks. So I'm wearing a wolf shirt for those of you that are watching the video, because I am a howler, or trying to be one, and a buddy of mine and I are going to do a Murph after this. So that's the only way I can get excited.
The literary reference is, if you have not read Red Rising by Pierce Brown.
The whole series, not just the first book.
You need to pause listening to this, return back, or maybe finish this episode, and then take a break from digital media, and then read a real book.
It's not touch grass. It's
read a book.
Read a book.
So I finished the first 3 of the series as well.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
There's a point where she stopped talking to me.
There was silent treatment for a while. There were some choice words that happen every once in a while. It was, guys,
our marriage was in jeopardy for a second.
It was brutal, but you should definitely listen to it. Read it. You should definitely read it. So you've got your Howler shirt on, a gift from my sister who introduced you to the book in the first place. I'm not sure if she's a listener, but if she is.
Well, she might be for this. So, and I'm going to wear this while I run and torture myself with a friend, because the power of friendship beats all things. That's the first part of the book, or that's the goal. It's not. So we're going to go through, we'll see if we get through all 10 points. We may not, but I have 10 points that we wrote about in the Substack of the things that you could pull out of the encyclical. Again, the encyclical itself is better than anything anyone could produce as a sort of summary. So if you can, I would say take time to actually read what Pope Leo actually says. Don't go read commentaries on it. Don't go read people like your favorite news article summary of it.
And then think that you know what it says.
Right, and think actually know what it says.
This is supposed to prompt you to go read it. This isn't all that you should get out of it.
So this is, to us, this is an introduction for you to look at some of the things that he's saying through the lens of marriage and family life. But then at the end of this, hopefully it prompts you to go jump into the actual document itself. So the first point that I thought was great was that the rebuilding of our society starts in the home. And Pope Leo uses the story of the Tower of Babel and the rebuilding of Jerusalem in the book of Nehemiah, just to contrast how we can go about building the civilization in the world in the way that we want it to be. We know things are broken in this world, and there's just 2 different ways that we can go about building things. And he contrasts the 2 different types of building that happens. And I use a quote from paragraph 8, but basically what we could take away from as family is that our rebuilding of society starts with our particular area of building, because that's what you get in the book of Nehemiah. Instead of trying to to control and change everything out there, looking at what we're actually able to build within our home.
Yeah, and in the story of Nehemiah, what Pope Leo pulls out of that and applies to families is that to work on what God has tasked you to work on. And like it's individualized in the sense that like you have a very special role that's been given to you, but it's for the greater community. So like focus on what you have been asked to do. And so it's individualized, but it's not isolated in that sense. And so what any married couple has been tasked to do through the vocation is to work on their family, to look inward on your family and to focus on building a strong foundation within your home, within your marriage, if you have children, like in the raising of your children, and to really start there. And the fruit that comes from that, the rest of the building, like it contributes to the rest of the building because of how you've built your piece.
I also got a sense from when he was writing that the reality that like the building starts in the home also should be something that makes us as Catholics be willing to engage with where our culture is right now with technology and artificial intelligence and social media and algorithms and everything, because there is a tendency, there's a temptation for us to put our heads in the sand and be like, no, well, I'm not going to read Pope Leo's encyclical on AI because I don't use AI or I don't care for AI or whatever, and like that has nothing to do with me. And the encyclical to me was it's a big summary of where we are in our current age based on all of the technological advancements we've had. And it's like, to me, it's a wonderful summary of just everything that's happening with humanity right now and where we're going and the things that we need to be aware of. Like, it's a big wake-up call. And for parents who are trying to rebuild in their home, the wake-up call is not just put your head in the sand, but be aware of the things that are coming and the things that are here, because they are very different than anything else the world has experienced up to this point. Like, a lot of it is like from out of sci-fi books.
Yeah. And it's not like anti-technology. It's not isolation. It's not even Benedict option where you withdraw and like create a bubble around your family and just insulate and isolate from the rest of the world. And as long as what's happening in my home is okay, then that's all I have control over. So I'm going to hyper control that. It's really more to prepare your family well to engage in what we have accessible to us in an appropriate way, and what are the dangers that are in front of us, but also what are the benefits, and how can we work on this in a community type way, because this is the time that we've been created to live in, and these are the things that are around us. These are the resources that we have. These are the advancements that humans have been able to produce. And so how are we using them well? How are we using them for the good of humanity? And what are the potential risks that come with them? And
then also if we are able to recognize how the world is advancing, we can recognize the void the world is trying to fill, and then make sure that our children and our family, our spouses aren't left with those voids going out into the world. So even if you are, like, say you're good at creating a bubble and homeschooling and all that, recognizing that as soon as your child does become part of the world, because we're called to be part of the world, to not be in the world, to not be of the world, but be in the world. We're called to be in the world at some point. And if your child is going into the world with still those areas of life that aren't answered, aren't filled, this is what technology is doing in order to fill those things. And even if you raise them Catholic their whole lives, if like these are things that you haven't addressed as a parent, they're going to be addressed by AI. They're going to be addressed by technology, social media, all the things that are out there right now, and things that are coming that we don't even recognize or don't even know that are coming. So our second point in the Substack is that the family is where a person first learns who he is. And that is something, again, that's taken directly from the encyclical. I have the different paragraphs within the Substack, but like every person has an inherent dignity. And we know that as Catholics, but not every person knows that. And they're supposed to learn it in the family. And I think a lot of times we think that we teach our child that by telling them that they are beloved, that they're a beloved child of God, that they, made it in the image of likeness of God. You hold the Imago Dei. We can tell them all those things, but that doesn't mean that they internalize it and believe it. And even if we tell them those things, like if they're being influenced by a culture, that they're given their worth by all these other things. All right, so this is a quote. A child learns about dignity as an observer of family life. He sees it on display on the way his father and mother speak to each other and share affection. He experiences it through how parents treat his siblings. He experiences it through the way mistakes are corrected and discipline is used. He learns his worth through the love he is given emotionally and practically by his family. And I think that we can tell our children a lot of things, but if they don't experience that inherent self-worth within the family, they will then turn to like, well, you tell me these things, but I still don't feel like I'm worthy. Social media, AI, friends, followers, everything tell me I need to do these things instead to feel worthy. They actually make me feel good, so I'm going to follow that instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because building on point one, where it's how you build within your home or rebuild within your home, but that has to be, that's one of the things that you have to build in your home is your child's knowledge, understanding, belief being rooted in their dignity and in their worth. And that comes from not just telling them that, but it's revealed in how you live, how you treat them, how you treat your spouse, how you treat their siblings in every part of their life. So it's in how you show them affection and love and embrace them, but it's also how you reveal that and how you discipline them, how you experience and go through suffering, how you experience and go through celebrations and victories. And if all of that is simply glossed over, it's not recognized, it's not embraced, it's not prioritized, then you're not revealing the magnitude of their worth, of their dignity. And so if they don't know that deep within, if that's just not a part of them, then they will go out and find that in other places. And we experienced that earlier before all of these technological advances. Like that's not an uncommon experience for preteens and teens to go out and be like, who am I? And, you know, like I have these self-doubts. I have these body image issues. I don't like myself very much. That's a pretty common experience. And what Pope Leo is kind of saying here, though, is that like that is the problem. And now there are more and more and more and more places for them to find answers outside of their home. Yeah. So it's not a new problem, but it has new and like a vast magnitude of places to find the answer to that problem that you have to be aware of.
You have to be aware of because these didn't exist when you were a kid. We write here, this is why parents should care about the Pope's reflection on AI and technology. These tools are not just tools anymore. They are influencers of the perception of human dignity. They form imagination, shape attention, and reward certain behaviors and punish others. They encourage and instill beliefs. They impact self-esteem and empathy. Technology has the power to tell children what matters, what is beautiful, what is normal, what is funny, and what is worth wanting. And most of the time, these are things parents are not aware of. And I think that's the larger point, is that we can think that we have a control over what our child is consuming, but technology is moving so quickly. And I know I've said this before, technology moves so fast that most of us who are in our 30s and millennials won't know how to handle certain technologies that our kids are going to find very, very easy. Like I remember when I was a kid, and I've said this before in other episodes, when I was a kid and I was getting the internet, I had to teach my parents how to use it. And in the same way, like we are getting things now that though, you know, we're late 30s. Oh my gosh. I still feel pretty competent in using the technology. At some point, I'm going to cross the line where my child could manage this better than I can. And instead of trying to control their access to it, which we talk about, we should also be aware of the messages they're going to be getting from those technologies so that we could at least give them boxes for the things that, oh, this is garbage, this is not. Like, this is true, this is fake, so that they can at least navigate it well, as opposed to needing us all the time, because at some point they're not going to need us.
Yeah. Well, I think that's part of the lie that we might feel is true about technology today, is because we were the first kids to have instant messenger and MySpace and like a lot of these new platforms. We were the first like test users, so we understood how to use them and manipulate them and get access to them that our parents didn't, and we kind of had to teach our parents. And so we feel like we've kept up to date, and a lot of people probably have been relatively up to date. Part of the problem is that there is no possible way to control these things. So you might think, oh, I get it, and I control this. Nope, the algorithm has more control than you do. So in the past, yeah, there were blockers and there were like things to prevent like explicit tags and like all these things to kind of, bad media, good media, bad media, like filter this, filter that, control that, block that. And no matter how many blockers you have, that's not enough anymore. Yeah. And you have to know that. Like, you just have to accept that. And so either you prevent certain devices, prevent certain platforms, like you just it's an all or nothing nuclear thing, and not just or, but and prepare them because of how you've treated them in your home and how you've treated your spouse, and you've instilled in them this sense of worth and a sense of goodness, that when they encounter these distortions of truth, they're able to notice them and to notice them for what they are, as like a half-truth, an untruth, and be able to like push them aside so that they are their own filters, not you relying on some technological filter to do your job.
Right. And that builds on our third point about the attention economy, which Pope Leo talks about. And he basically was saying that platforms and services are designed to capture our attention and our time and exploit our vulnerabilities, weaken our inner freedom, and reduce us to less than human, to turn us simply into potential customers. And I think people can hear that and be like, yeah, I know the algorithm works a certain way. I know that AI works a certain way. I know technologies work a certain way to try to get my attention, to try to get me to spend money. But and like, hasn't marketing always been like that? And the point I tried making is that in the 90s, we saw a shift in how marketing worked. If you like to spend a lot of time on YouTube learning about these random things, in the 80s and 90s, things changed because marketing companies started spending money on ads and recognized that the children were actually a better way of making money. If you were able to target the children, they would go to their parents and be like, I want these things. The parents were like, oh, whatever, we'll buy you what you want. And so that they made the ads very
user-friendly.
If they made the ads very attractive to children, then they could bypass the parent and still get to the parent's wallet. And companies are far beyond that now, because they recognize that every user, every Instagram user, every X user, every Facebook user, every TikTok user, Snapchat, like all of you have individual profiles where you are given a very curated thing so that they can keep your attention longer, so that they can eventually sell you a product somehow, or to monetize your attention. Like the users will try to monetize your attention so that they can eventually, somebody else can sell you a product. And for parents, we could think like, I go on Instagram and I see these things. So my kid might be seeing that, like, I'm really into jujitsu. My kid must be seeing all these jiu-jitsu videos. Like, no, your kid is going to see whatever they are attracted to, whatever they spend the most time on, whatever they are able to focus on. I know that there's some technology where some ads and videos are able to use the camera in your phone to see where your eyes go to see how long you're staring at a particular thing. So like, you get more of those things within the algorithm as you start going on your different social medias. So all of that in mind, we should keep that in mind, that every product that we're using is actually made to make us be a consumer in some way. So it's never for our good. Like every Google search that you're going to be putting in now that has an AI component to it is going to be used in a way to make you eventually a consumer of whatever product they think you need. And it's like, I know we buy a thing on Amazon and suddenly we get a ton of those things now, like on different ads and this and that, or we talk about it, or we see it on TV. Like all of that is made to make us consumers. And if we forget that and don't realize like this is why we have this technology, and we just let our 12-year-old, 11-year-old, 10-year-old have it all to himself, we're not realizing like the things that they're being exposed to. Sorry, that was long-winded.
That's all right. The added danger of that though too is it's not just identifying the things that we're interested in. So like you said, we might think as parents that like, oh, we can monitor what our kids are liking, what they're following, but the algorithm is keeping track of what they linger on, what they swipe through, what videos they stay on longer, and even like with the camera and things, and
even
like
what videos the kids their age tend to like.
Yes.
They'll feed them a few.
And so they'll test that out and see if that works for them. And the added dangerous part is that it's not just what you're interested in, what you're attracted to, but it also attacks and manipulates your vulnerabilities and the insecurities that you have. And I think that this is going to be a hot take, but I think that that's true of like women my age and slightly older, with all of these like diet pills and shakes and drinks to have and face creams and all these routines that like the more that I linger on things like that, the more I'm told that my wrinkles are bad and that my baby belly is bad and the this and this. And so for our children who have not fully formed their identity yet, this is even more dangerous because they will linger on things that make them very vulnerable and increasingly vulnerable, because they linger on things of you should be this, you should have that. It's not just you want this, but the way that you are is not good enough. So these are the solutions to that. And what's really scary is that like there's also a really big potential for exposure to really dark stuff of you don't feel good enough. That's okay. These are like that, like depressive stuff and self-harm and a lot of suicidal content out there and a lot of dangerous stuff that they find like solidarity. Somebody else gets it. Somebody else sees me. Like I have a shared experience with somebody else, but because there's this element of AI and product management, it might not even be a real person. It could very likely be a bot or like a fake thing.
That's huge now, actually, where I'll send you some of these, but there's a ton of verified AI personalities now that people control that look like, again, AI video has gotten to a point that it's very hard to distinguish. It's not just like my mom sending, this is like 6 months ago. My mom's not going to send me like, is this AI? Is this not? Like, you won't know. I can know because of very little things, but like unless you're really seeped in and studying how do you know AI is not, like, you're not gonna have any idea. And they're big influencers now that don't exist, but are now able to speak directly to our vulnerabilities because of the way they look or the way they act. And they're exposed. They're exploiting a ton of our kids and us adults as well.
And the more data that they receive, the better they are at impersonating humans. And so that's a really big reason for Pope Leo's writing about AI, is that there is nothing that can replace a human, but we're getting tricked into believing that we can. And our children, again, if they're not well formed in the home of their worth, despite, regardless, because of their imperfections, then they are going to be exploited and manipulated by not real humans.
Yeah. And that builds onto the next point. It's like we did this on purpose. Well, I don't think we actually thought this through this much, but it's great. Fourth point is that AI can imitate care, but it can't love us. And this is a very scary thing of how many people are, when they have situations or issues that they don't know how to handle. And I know I do this too, but not to the same extent. Like if we have a situation where we need to, like, I wish I had more information on this, instead of going to Google and Googling like these symptoms, what do I have? I will go to ChatGPT and be like, what do I have? And then like send me an article.
It went from WebMD to Dr. Google to now Chat.
Chat can tell me. But some people use it for like, my spouse is mad at me for this. What do I do? Or I'm feeling a little bit more depressed. What do you recommend? Or I don't experience God anymore. What should I be doing? And they've substituted human connection and interaction with, I just want a quick answer to the thing I need. I don't want to actually have to sit with somebody and explain to them the situation, talk the whole thing through, tell them why I don't think this will work and go back and forth for a while. Like, I just want my answers. And we are becoming a society who I just want to know what I should do. Don't tell me. I don't want this whole relationship thing. Which I understand on one end, we used to talk about how like Gen Z just wants the practicals. They just want to be told what to do, which is fine. But now we're shifting where everyone just tell me what to do. I don't want to deal with you right now. And the twofold thing is that, one, we start thinking that AI can actually care about us and actually can replace humans in the need for relationship. And also we then will tend to see people who require more of us than just a quick answer as inconveniences. And we start seeing people as inconveniences because, well, I need to invest more in you for you to actually believe the things I'm telling you. That takes way too long. I don't want to deal with it. I want to receive quick answers, and I also want to be able to give quick answers. Like, I don't want to deal with the whole reality of what a relationship requires.
Yeah. It's making people too complicated. And I watched a reel this morning by Dr. Matthew Bruninger, and he was talking about how therapy doesn't heal. And I was like, oh, interesting. And he's like, it's never going to heal. Therapy is not going to take away the trauma. It's not going to take away the suffering, but it's to help you to learn to understand it better, understand your responses to that, to help minimize the interruptions in your life, the unpleasant interruptions in your life. But it's never supposed to like eliminate that, because that would take away something that was real and something that helped form you. And so he said that therapy isn't meant to anesthetize suffering. And I was like, oh, that was a good one. And I think that that's what we search for sometimes when we turn to media and technology and these personal devices to help us with things, is we want their solutions to take it away. And if we go to chat, if we go to AI asking for relationship advice or advice on how to like personally handle something that is affecting me because of my relationship, then we are missing a whole lot of the nuance and the complexity of human interaction. And I think that this is kind of the next step that goes from like, well, we searched for advice through like forums, maybe like Facebook forums or Reddit, and we're getting personalized answers from people. And now chat, a person who doesn't know us and only knows the paragraph that we wrote. And then now we're asking an algorithm to do that for us. So it takes all the data that it has found and kind of condenses it and summarizes it into a pithy little response. And we get really disappointed when it doesn't work. And so we think it's not us though, it's them. And like they're the problem because this solution that I was told was supposed to work doesn't work with my kid. It doesn't work with my spouse. And I think that pits us against one another instead of unionizing one another when we are wrestling through and processing and going through something together.
It also affects how we handle ourselves internally, because I know that we've been told by people they will also use it to help them figure themselves out. So if they're experiencing whatever, whether it be mental health or just confusion about their state in life or what they should be doing with their emotions, they'll have ChatGPT or any other kind of AI model diagnose them to themselves. I'm feeling this way because of this situation. Why? And it'll tell them, and then they'll just assume like, oh, that's why. That's an actual answer. In the same way that I could ask any kind of AI large language model to give me an answer about these things out here, it can give me an answer about me. So instead of me actually sitting with a problem, me sitting with my own emotions, me sitting with my own thoughts, I no longer have to do that because I can just ask this device to diagnose me, and diagnose it not in the medical sense, but just tell me what's going on in here. And now it uses it. People will believe those to actually be the answer when they're not, because this thing doesn't care for you. It's a tool. It's a machine. I think I put in there that it cares about you just as much as the lawnmower cares about you. Like it doesn't care at all, and its answers aren't accurate either. Some things could be accurate, but if you start asking things about human interaction, it can give you very broad theories, but it can't give you very specific things about you, because that requires relationship and communion, and only humans can give you that, because you were made to only do that with humans.
And so it can do its job to the extent that it can do its job, right? So it's a tool that takes in data, summarizes data, finds patterns in data, and then like spits that back out. There is some element of quote unquote personalization because it remembers the other inputs that you have put in the past. So it's limited to whatever you have shared with it. But if you've shared other things, it kind of incorporates that into its response. And I think that's the tricky part, though, is you feel like it starts to know you. But like you said...
Oh, my version of chat knows your name. And I was like, when did I tell her that?
Her. Your chat is a lady.
When I tell it... Well, you were the her. I was speaking poor English. Sorry. When did I tell it about her? That's what it... Right.
So, but like thinking like a lawnmower cares about you. It's doing its job. And so it is limited to that. And when we start to ask for a tool to go beyond itself, then we're misusing it, we're disordering it. And if we're going to think that this is going to help our marriages, help our relationships, help our family, it's a good tool for ideas that you can bring to the conversation. Maybe you were thinking of something, but you couldn't think of the word for it, or it sparked another idea. It sends you in a different direction. It kind of, challenges your thought process maybe, or what have you. Like it's a good tool for ideas, but for it to be the solution, the answer for interpersonal stuff, it's always going to fall short. And largely because it's a tool. It does not know you and it doesn't care for you.
And the way that we safeguard our children and our own relationships from this is by doing the hard work within ourselves to get to know ourselves better, doing the hard work of growing in our spiritual life by doing the spiritual things that need to happen, doing the hard work of learning our children and having them learn us by engaging in conversations, growing with them. So as like our kids are starting to get into the preteen age, and they're going to be some of them are going to be teenagers soon, and learning to interact with them the way they are now, because they're no longer our babies. As much as we want our babies to stay babies forever, they're no longer our babies. So we can't speak to them the same way we did when they were younger. We can't treat them the same way we did when they were younger. And that takes a tremendous amount of work as a parent to constantly be learning this person that you love so much over and over and over again. The same thing you have to do with your spouse. Like Monica and I were together we've been together for 20 years. August, it'll be 20 years that we've been together. And the people we were when we were in high school are not the people that we are now. Though we have similar personalities and skin tones, we are not the same people. And we have to be willing to grow with this person day in, day out, keep getting to know them, keep getting to engage with them, because they're not an easy answer. None of the people in our lives that we love are easy answers. So if we are able to model that for our kids, that we don't treat each other like easy answers, like, oh, you're just mad because of XYZ. I always know this. If I do these things, then you'll always be happy. That's not how relationships work. And if we can model that well to them, they'll realize that no matter how much this tool tries to be a person, well, you're not really a person. And I can know that because a real person does these things for me. And this is how a real person treats me. This is how a real person thinks. This is how real relationships interact. So if we can give them that kind of model within the home, they won't be tricked by the other models out there. They won't be tricked by the bigger things that seem shiny and cool and cute, but they're not actually human.
I think that's a great connection back to point 1, too, of Imago Dei, being created in the image and likeness of God, and how we're all uniquely made that way. And how I think sometimes, too, our faith life, like we pray and we wish that God would just give us spit out the answer. And why is this happening? What should I do? Where should I go next? Fix my marriage, help me be a better mom, all these things. And we are wishing for this, step 1, step 2, or have you tried this yet? Or whatever. And because our relationship with God is always advancing and changing, not in that he is unchanging, but that relationship, that interpersonal relationship with us and God with us, is advancing and changing, and it's complicated because we are, and because our understanding changes, our experiences change. We see God at work in more so because of this circumstance, or because of this new relationship, or the changing relationship of our marriage and our kids. And so I think our family life is an image of that we are always meant to continue to pursue a good relationship with our kids as they change, as they develop, same with our spouse, and the same with God. And so I think that if we personify AI, then we also limit our opportunity for the spiritual life, because we want our spiritual life to mirror that relationship that we have with this personified artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good. There's so much more to unpack. Those are the first 4 points in our Substack article. There's 10 points that we tackle in that article, and then there's
quite a lengthy article.
There are over 200 something paragraphs that Pope Leo put out there. So we hope that from here you're able to go to the article, and then from there you're able to then jump into the full encyclical and take your time with that as you see that there's ways that we can incorporate this into family life. But I do think the Pope wrote for the whole church, and it's really cool to be part of that time in history where everything's changing so much and the church has something to say about it. So if you liked this episode, leave us a comment on, where are we? We're on Spotify and YouTube if you want to leave a comment on the video. You could also watch this on our Substack and then read the article, which we highly recommend. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify.
If you want to see what's going on in our daily life, you can follow us on Instagram at To Become Family. All of our stuff is To Become Family related. TWO Become Family. And we will see you at the next episode.